It is my privilege and I am pleased to invite Mr. Manoj to talk on blind spot in communication. This is the topic of this talk. Let me give you a brief profile of Mr. Manoj. Mr. Manoj Onkar is a founder, Management Innovations, has 25 years of very impressive experience in this domain as an OD expert, a strategic consultant, and leadership development champion. He is also a master coach and a master trainer. Uh, he worked with various schools and private organizations and public PSUs. In the field of transformational education, the name Landmark Forum stands head and shoulder above the rest. It was Manoj who established the operations of Landmark Forum in Gujarat, where he worked as a trainer and seminar leader for several years. Over 30,000 people benefited from his expertise. Manoj, as a part of NIS Sparta, had the privilege of training, coaching, and certifying 125 B2B trainers and coaches. In the B2C domain also, Manoj molded hundreds of trainers and coaches. In the field of academic education too, over 200 teachers have had him as their coach and mentor. From 2015 onwards, Manoj has been involved in transforming the consciousness with which organizations, society, and individuals operate by leveraging theory U principle and offering specialized workshop and consulting services based on the same. The flagship program is called Leadership from the Emerging Future. Manoj is also a certified trainer in innovative thinking system by Beacon, Japan, and offers training and consulting in India, Thailand, and other part of the country. With this, I would like to welcome Mr. Manoj to this platform. And Manoj, now the stage is over to you.
Thank you very much, Deepak. Thank you very much. It's so nice of you. Okay, everybody, good evening. And
good evening, sir.
Very good evening.
I requested if you can get your videos on, we can have fun, we can have communication, right? It's difficult to communicate with people whom you don't see.
Hello, sir. I had heard
Hi.
that you are a part of Landmark Forum.
Yes.
Yes, sir. I am also the Landmark graduate.
Okay, very good. When did you do?
What, sir?
When did you do the course, first course?
Sir, I did before 5 to 6 years.
Okay, okay. I had left by that time. I left in 2013. But from 1992 to 2013, I was involved. 1990, yeah.
My father did a course with the SODI. You might be know the SODI.
Yeah. I know everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
Everybody there, yes. Okay, welcome everybody. And can you get your videos on, please? It's really interesting when you can talk to people instead of talking to blank screens, right? Okay, so the topic is called blind spot in communication. Okay, and so I'm not going to go into much details about me. Deepak has already covered, and if you need to know more about me, you can always ask me later on. But since the time is less, let's jump directly into the topic. Okay, so we are doing this work, whatever we are going to discuss today is built on Theory U by Dr. Otto Scharber of MIT, USA. So you can write down, if you want to make some notes, Theory U in as an alphabet U. If you can see behind me, you can see this U, okay? So this is world's best leadership and change management theory right now, right? And it's being used in companies like Google and Alibaba and McKinsey, and also in UN. And a lot of UN leaders are getting trained into this. Some of our IAS officers are getting trained into it. It's also used in social organizations. So it's a globally happening conversation. Okay, and we are using one first point, like the first point of that today in our discussion. Our workshops are 2-day workshops followed by 6 sessions, and that's just level 1. And there's a whole ocean out there. But we are going to introduce you to the first point, okay, today. So we are looking at communication. And I would like you to respond. So you can unmute yourself and respond, and then you can go back on mute. What do you think is the biggest problem in communication? Unmute and speak, please.
Maybe listening.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
Means during communication, mostly people are not listening properly, and they are mostly listening to react, not to understand. So that may be the one problem.
Okay, very good. Somebody else?
Maybe sometime I can found that I have less vocabulary. Maybe.
Okay, you have less vocabulary. Okay, got that. Somebody else? What is the biggest problem in communication? Nirbhay?
Point of view, the biggest problem is confidence. If you don't have confidence, so you cannot speak. So first of all, from my point of view, is confidence.
Okay, got that. Thank you, Vipin. Nirbhay?
It could be language, when someone doesn't understand your language or they don't understand your language.
Okay, yeah, that is obvious, yes. But even when they understand your language per se, they still don't understand your language.
Sorry?
So they may understand English, but they still don't understand you and your language. Right?
It could be accent difference, or your wording.
Right. Okay, got that. Great. Thanks, Nirbhay. Thank you. Somebody else?
Sir, not express our feelings in words. Can't
Not expressing your feelings in words. Okay. Somebody else? Thank you. So just jump in, unmute yourself and jump in.
Another thing is about the interest, like the person don't have the interest, won't understand, won't interact in your communication.
Okay. They won't understand. Okay, good. Got that. Okay. Somebody else?
Cultural differences.
Cultural differences. Okay.
We don't know how will people react after listening to our talk,
And you're worried about it. Is that so? Lavina?
Yes.
Are you saying that you don't know how they will react, and then are you worried about it? Are you afraid of it?
Yeah.
Okay, got that. Good. Thank you. Okay, one more person.
No.
Okay, no, I'm saying I'm giving chance to somebody else to share. One more person to share. Yes, Giriraj Dave. Yeah.
Yeah, good evening. Because you have something in your mind, that is a thought process going on. When you communicate, suppose if I communicate to you, there is a gap. And when after you listen and when you understand, there is a gap. And after you understand and you respond, there is a gap.
Okay.
So these are the spots. Then ultimately, it may turn out to be something in a different way, what you have beyond your expectation.
Okay, got that. Okay, thank you very much. So now let me make it more real in your life, right? So look at real people in your life. If you're working, look at your boss or your customer or your team member, right? Or in your family, look at your spouse or parents or children. What's the problem in communication with these people?
Poor listening.
Poor listening. Okay. Who's listening is poor?
The person at the other end.
The
I
person
mean,
at the
in
other
case
end,
the
of course.
listening is poor, I mean the communication doesn't get happen in a better way.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Somebody else?
Generation gap with parents.
Generation gap. Okay. Jinam, thank you.
Lack of clarity.
Lack of clarity. Okay. For whom? For you or the other person?
Sir, from both sides.
Both sides. Okay. Very good. Okay. So I think many of you have got good points here. I'm going to build on what Mayur said, and I think Rekha also said. See, we are trying to communicate and we are trying to say, okay, how do I communicate effectively and all that stuff. But the real problem is nobody is listening. So you can do everything that you want to do about your communication, right? You can try to improve, you can change your vocabulary, you can do whatever you want to do. But the real problem is what? Nobody is listening. Nobody is listening. The family members are not listening. The colleagues are not listening. The friends are not listening. The spouse is never listening, right? And nobody is listening. That's the first problem. But that's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is nobody is listening and they don't even know that they are not listening. If you ask them, they say, of course I am listening. They can even repeat your words sometimes. Okay. How many of you understand what I'm saying? So nobody is listening and they don't even know that they are not listening. Now you have a big problem, right? So it looks to them that they are listening, but they're not, right? So what is happening when people think they are listening, but actually they are not listening? What is really happening? So what Otto Scharmer says, and is that instead of listening, what human beings are doing is what we call as downloading. So get familiar with this new word. We call it downloading. Okay, can everybody say that? Repeat that. Downloading.
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 So just get comfortable with that word, right? So what people are doing is they're downloading. Means what? Instead of listening to you, they are listening through their opinions and judgments. So they have opinions and judgments about you. And they are listening through their opinions and judgments. Then you're discussing some topic. They have opinions and judgment about that topic. They think they're listening to you, but they are listening to what? They are downloading their opinions and judgment.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now this is happening because they are human beings. So it's not that they're wrong or bad, or this is just happening because they're human beings, human design. So if it's happening to them, it's also happening to whom? If it's happening to them, it's also happening to whom?
Us also.
To us.
All of us. All of us.
We are in the same trap. They are not listening. We are also not listening. As human beings, we are not designed to listen. What are we doing then? So we are doing thousands of courses on communication, but nobody is listening. And you're breaking your head, but we don't realize nobody is listening and we are not listening. So imagine that you are in a room, okay? And there are windows across the room, okay? But the windows are closed and the curtains are pulled. So you can't see anything outside, right? And imagine there is a projector in the middle of the room. And that projector is projecting some audio clips and video clips, right? And that projector is connected to your brain. So you're seeing a lot of things. And they're great things, some nice things, some bad things, some sad things, a lot of things. So that's what's happening when you're listening. You're watching those projectors films. Now that's not wrong or bad. The only problem is that has got nothing to do with real life. Because these are all projections coming from your past, coming from your opinions and judgments. If you want to connect to real life, you will have to get out of this head. This room is actually our head. We are not living in our life. We are living in our head. So in the head, it's all full of what? Opinions and judgments. And when we listen to people, what happens? You say, I always knew. Right? We always we just reconfirm our opinions and judgment. So consider that we and everybody else on the planet, we are all living in our own head. You are living in your head. Your parents are living in their own head. Your other family members are living in their head. Your boss is his or her own head. Everybody is in their own head. And you want communication. Little difficult, right? When everybody is in their own head, you can't have communication. Okay, do you get so far?
Yes.
Yes,
So
sir.
how many of you can see that, yes, you are also in your own head? You are also full of opinion and judgment. Raise your hand if you can see that. Yeah. Like, how many can see you have opinions and judgments about everybody? Your family members, your friends, right? You have opinions about government. You have opinions about what government should have done to avoid COVID, right? And you have opinions about your job. If you're working, you have opinions about your company strategy. You have opinions about everything, right? Good. Dr. Bharat Patel, did you raise your hand because I requested you, or did you?
Yes, because you
Okay.
requested. That is why, sir. No other.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
with you, very much with you. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So, to have a breakthrough in communication, the first thing we have to do is we have to get out of our head. Okay. So coming back to the picture that I told you, let me also see if I can share a slide with you so that you can visualize a little easily, maybe. Okay, it will take a couple of seconds to come back. So, yeah, can you see a slide?
Yes.
Are you able to see a slide? Okay. Okay, good. So, don't try to read the whole slide. I will take you through the whole thing one by one. It will get you more value. Okay. So where we are here, if you look at on the left side, we are downloading. It's all habitual listening. We are in this circular room and it's all our projections. So the boundary of our life is ourselves, our head. And in that, we just reconfirm our opinions and judgments. That's all that happens. Now, if you really want to get connected to the world, you have to get out of your head. What does it mean? If you look at here, you have to get to instead of being in the center of the room, you have to go to the edge of the room, go to the window. And what do you do of going to the window? You move the curtains, open the window and look outside. Where is life happening? In your head or outside? Where is life happening? In your head or outside?
Outside.
Outside. Yeah. So you go to the window and look outside, which means you go out of your head. Now, how do you know that you are going outside? How do you know you are out of your head? Mostly people say, are you out of your mind? We say that's good because in your mind is all mess. There's no point in being in your mind, right? It's all opinion and judgment, right? So how do you know that you are really listening?
When we are conscious.
No, hear me out, okay? First, so the first level, right, is our downloading, right, which is where we are not listening, but we don't know we are listening. The second level is what we call as factual listening. Factual means facts. You're listening for facts, listening for data, listening for new points, listening for new perspectives. Okay. So when you actually open the windows and look outside, you will see something different than what you were projecting in your head earlier. It cannot be the same thing that you were projecting. When you open the window and see outside, you will see something different. Something different than what you already knew. Some new data, some new perspective, some new way of looking at things. So that's the first proof of listening. that you discover something different than what you already knew. So if you talk to a friend or a family member for some time, or you are in a meeting maybe in your work, and at the end of the meeting, if you did not discover any new data, any new perspective, then consider that you were not listening. You were doing what? Somebody? You were doing what?
Hearing.
No, downloading.
Downloading. Sorry.
Yeah, listening through your opinions and judgment.
Yeah.
Right. So the first level that we have to train ourselves is what we call as factual listening. Factual listening is training ourselves to consciously listen for contradictory data, different data different than what we already know. Right? New perspective, different way of seeing it. Okay. Now, mostly we are not trained in that. Mostly our brain is trained to ignore data which doesn't match to our current logic. If it's not matching our logic, we ignore it. Okay, so now I'll ask you a question. There is one profession which is very highly trained in factual listening. Which profession is that?
Counseling.
Lawyer.
Lawyer, okay. Counseling, okay. Somebody else?
Psychiatrist. Doctor.
Doctor, okay. Somebody else?
Customer care.
Customer care, okay.
Education field.
Education field. Okay. According to me, and I could be wrong.
Accounting and finance, factual data, they are more content.
According to me, the profession which is most highly trained in factual listening are scientists.
Scientists.
Because if a scientist sees the world in the same way, there is no value for them. Scientist has to discover new data. The value of a scientist is either they have to discover new data or they have to discover new interpretation of the old data. Right? But mostly we are focused on seeing life of the way we see it. We don't want to see it differently. If there is a new data, if there is a contradictory data, our brain doesn't like it. Our brain wants to ignore it. So our brain does two things. Either it says, no, this data is wrong, or it ignores it. It's not relevant. It's not relevant. Right? So that's the first challenge. So we want to develop ourselves in factual listening. Okay. And maybe if the time permits, we will do some exercise right now today. You can get a taste of what does it look like. Okay. Now, third level. So there are 4 levels of listening, but we're going to learn the third level. Okay. So the third level of listening is going back to the earlier story. You were in the room, right? Now you have come to the window and you have opened the doors, opened the window and removed the curtains, and you're seeing it. That was second level. Third level is you actually get out of your room and go out where people are there and stand there and look back at your room. It's like as if you are in 2 places at the same time. You're here in the room and you go out there, and from you stand with the people and then look back at yourself. Like go and look at yourself from the eyes of other people. Look at yourself from the eyes of your spouse or from your family members, your parents, or your customers, or your colleagues, or your boss, or your team member. When you start looking at from yourself, from the eyes of other person, that is what we call as empathic listening. That is where you build a real emotional connection. And that's where real communication happens. Right. So, somebody who's using Oppo, you raised your hand. Did you have any question? Okay, so let me pause here and see. You can share back with me what you understand or what question you have. You can unmute and speak. Giriraj, you wanted to say something? You're on mute.
Yeah, what is happening if you go out of the room, as you said rightly, and look at from the angle of how from other people, then what is happening to फिर बाद में then you have a mindset. So if I do this, if I do that, then what others will think.
Right.
So your conscious mind, although you are on a right track, but then the people also you are surrounded by them, and ultimately you will end up in some confusion level, confusion stage, and you may take a wrong decision or wrong judgment.
Right. Very good. I'm going to say something more about what you just said. Okay. We are going to introduce you 3 enemies of listening. Okay. Very soon. So you just pointed at one of them. Okay. Somebody else. What did you understand from whatever I said till now, or what questions you have?
So one this
Yeah,
question that you explained about factual listening. So how we can do that? If you can give some example of that, it will be helpful.
Yes. So we are going to practice that, right? But for example, right now you said something, right? Okay. You asked for an example. Now, firstly, I had to get that, right? I had to get that that's what you said, right? Instead of going in my head and looking at, oh, what is Jinam saying? Why is he saying? Why is he not having his video on? Right? So there's all downloading can happen, right? You have to notice that, but you have to put it aside, and then you have to actually get what the other person is saying. Okay. Jinam, are you with me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, and we'll do a small exercise where we can actually test it. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Okay. So somebody else, what's the question, or what are you understanding so far?
Sir, as you talked about being in head.
Yes.
I remember one thing that when we were child, we not used to being in our head. We used to enjoy everything.
Yes.
So we should not be in our head.
Yeah, but the bad news is you're already grown up, right?
Yes, as we grown up.
So you cannot go back. There is no time machine available, right? So you're going to be in your head. And if you say, I should not be in my head, that is not going to solve the problem. Okay. You have to now you have grown up. So now you have to deal with this problem. You cannot say, oh, I should not have this problem. Now, what is the way to deal with it?
Yeah, sir. We focus on any activity or a work, then we can enjoy better without being out of our head.
Okay. Consider that you have to become alert. You have to become aware of your downloading. When you're aware of your downloading, that is the only time you can get out of your head. If you're not aware of your downloading, it is running. It's automatic. Right? We don't do downloading by choice. It's automatic. It's continuous. But the moment you're aware of it, you can put it aside. You can park it. You can suspend it. And then you can listen to it.
Yes, sir. Consciousness.
Yes. Like, I have this downloading. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. And then you can put it aside and you can actually listen, and then you can understand something. Right? Okay, great. So now let's do a small exercise. Okay, so let's see how we can actually do factual listening. Okay, and so let's talk about cricket. Okay, and what we need to talk. So let's talk. Somebody who likes cricket. Okay, so let's take a topic, little difficult topic. Kohli has resigned as a captain, right? Should he have resigned or not resigned? Anybody? Now imagine that you have this play. We are not serious about this topic. We are using this topic to just learn how do we listen, right? So suppose you are saying One thing, you're saying, oh, he should have resigned. And suppose I'm saying, no, he should not have resigned. So we're going on, right? We can just keep arguing. But then when we actually pause and start listening to some data that we are saying, oh, this is the reason. There's some data. If you can actually suspend whatever is your opinion, put your opinion aside for some time and listen to what they are saying. Get the data. That's where you begin factual listening. When you can put your opinion aside and you can actually get what they're really saying. And if you don't understand, you can ask them. Right? You can get the data. Right? So that's the first thing. Getting data which is contradictory to your understanding, to your opinion. Getting perspectives contradictory to your opinion. Okay. So now let's do another exercise. Now we need 2 volunteers. Okay. So let's see if we can have 2 volunteers. Sujal, thank you very much. Okay. And somebody else. Okay. Asha. Okay, good. So Sujal.
Yes, sir.
Can you, Asha, you need to keep your video on. Okay. Okay. Sujal, can you close your eyes for 1 minute? Okay. Asha, what is the, you've seen the color, right? Don't say, but you've seen the color of this mobile? Yeah, don't speak. Okay. Okay. Now, Sujal.
Yes, sir.
Can you open your eyes? And Asha, can you close your eyes? Okay. So have you seen, Sujal, have you seen the color? Don't speak. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. So now, Sujal and Asha, you need to talk. Okay. But you need to talk like not in a very polite way. Okay. So now explain to each other what was the color of the mobile? What is the color of the mobile?
Black.
Yellow.
Okay. So now discuss. What is the color of the mobile?
Sir, I have seen black color.
Red, sorry.
No, you talk to, so talk to each other. Asha, please convince Sujal or whatever. And Sujal, you need to talk to Asha. Both of you are saying something different, right?
Ma'am,
So
the
talk.
color was black actually. I have seen.
Yeah, don't be so polite, okay?
But which I was seeing was in a red color.
Okay.
So I think I have not seen properly. It might be possible.
Why are you so scared of Asha?
No, sir.
She's far away. She's not going to beat you. Right? You
Believe
don't have to be so scared, right?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so don't get scared. Continue the discussion.
No, but I have seen the color is black.
Okay, good. Don't give up. Don't give up on your point. Okay, Asha.
Yeah.
Continue.
It was red.
The I don't think so. The color was red because the mobile phone is not red. Looks like red. They are only black and white. They comes mainly black. I have seen the screen only. I have seen only the front part of the mobile. That's why I'm.
Yeah, but I've seen back the mobile cover. It was red. So.
Okay, so I think sir has shown different to us.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, good. Very good. So now, Sujal, just 1 minute back, you were going to give up, right? You'll say, okay, fine, I may not have seen it correctly, right? That's what happens in communication, right? We don't stay with our point and we give up our point, nor do we understand to get into the other person's point, right? So, but if you actually say, okay, listen, I saw black, right? And you saw red. Can you show me what you saw? If you can show, right? You can get into the other person's world. Oh, you saw that? Okay.
Yes.
Can you show me that? I didn't see that. Right? And let me then show you what I saw. So when you put aside who's right, who's wrong, but you actually take effort to go into their world and see what they say. See, when people are saying something different, we fight with them, right? Or we get upset with them, or we give up on them. Right? इनको तो समझ में नहीं आएगा, right? But can we actually take effort to go and see what they are seeing? And allow them to come and see what we are seeing. So when we take the effort to go and see what they are saying, instead of just fighting what they are saying, that's where the third example of not only opening the window, but actually going out and standing with them and seeing what they are seeing. Right? And that's where you build the empathic connection. Okay, great. So Sujal and Asha, you got one more friend in your life. Okay. Okay, so this is a very simple example, but this is in every area we get stuck to our perspectives. But if we can pause and actually go out and see from other people's eyes, we can do that. But it's difficult. It's difficult for us because what is the enemy? The enemy, the biggest enemy for communication is ego. What do I mean by ego? Ego means we are living in a boundary. Ego means we are living in a boundary. Oh, me, my opinion, my world, or my family, that's a boundary. My work, my company. We're always living in a boundary. My country, my caste, my religion, my blah, blah, blah. We're living in a boundary and our thinking is within that boundary. It doesn't allow us to go out of the boundary and see from other people's eyes. Okay, so now let's look at three enemies that we have. Okay, your three enemies will stop you from listening effectively. Interested? आपके तीन दुश्मन कौन है? Right? जो आपको आपके सुनने के लिए बाधा रूप है. Right? They stop you from listening. They stop you from having great relationship. They stop you from having great partnership. They stop you from your leadership. What are the three enemies? So the first enemy is what we call as voice of judgment. VOJ, voice of judgment. हमारा opinion and judgment. So सब बोलिए. सब first enemy कौन है?
Voice of judgment.
Voice of judgment.
Voice of judgment.
कितने लोगों के पास है वॉइस ऑफ जजमेंट? कंटिन्यूस चलता है ना, नॉन स्टॉप. अभी भी चल रहा होगा. अरे और कई बार चलता है पर हमको मालूम नहीं होता कि क्या चल रहा है. राइट? सो देयर इज वन वॉइस ऑफ जजमेंट. सेकंड एनिमी इज वॉइस ऑफ सिनिसिज्म. सिनिसिज्म यानी ये तो कुछ नहीं बदलेगा, ऐसा ही रहेगा. राइट? एक बॉस चला गया, दूसरा बॉस आ गया, पर मेरा करियर का तो वैसे ही रहेगा. राइट? एक बजट चला गया, दूसरा बजट आ गया, इकोनॉमी तो ऐसा ही रहेगा. राइट? कुछ भी. तो वी आर सिनिकल. हाँ, ये बोल रहे हैं पर कोई सुधरने वाला नहीं है. वी आर सिनिकल. हाउ मेनी कैन सी दैट वी आर सिनिकल? इज वॉइस ऑफ सिनिसिज्म. रेज योर हैंड इफ यू कैन सी यू हैव वॉइस ऑफ सिनिसिज्म. हाँ, सब कुछ बोल रहे हैं पर एक्चुअली ज्यादा कुछ फर्क पड़ने वाला नहीं है. थोड़ा 19-20 होगा पर वैसा ही रहेगा. So that's all. Voice of
this type of feeling during our management meeting maximum.
हाँ, बॉस को नया नया आइडिया आता है. हाँ ठीक है, अभी हर महीने उसको नया आइडिया आता है.
हाँ, they are every time they find us, ask for the new ideas. We give the new ideas. We give the original presentation, everything. Then they said, "Okay, we will get back to you." Then we are in a series. I know you are not going to back.
Yes. Right. So we are always cynical. So that cynicism stops us from listening effectively. And the third and maybe the biggest enemy is voice of fear. So VOJ, voice of judgment, VOC, voice of cynicism, and VOF, voice of fear. कितने लोगों को कि डर रोकता है? How many of you can see? Fear stops you from listening to new ideas, new ways of doing things. Right? कोई बोले नहीं ऐसा मत पढ़ाई करो, इस तरह से पढ़ाई करो. आप बोलेंगे नहीं 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 ऐसा ही करूंगा, इसी तरह से. Right? We are stuck into one way of doing things, our way of doing things. मेरा तरीका बढ़िया नहीं है, पर मैं दूसरा नहीं सुनने वाला. यही एटलीस्ट जो हो रहा है कुछ तो हो रहा है. अभी मैं दूसरा आइडिया लूंगा तो फिर क्या होगा भगवान जाने. So there is fear. Okay. So we have three enemies: voice of judgment, voice of cynicism, voice of fear. So please tell me, how do these three enemies limit your life? इसका नुकसान क्या हो रहा है? What is the problem caused by these three fears? Let's hear from a couple of people, and then I will tell you how can you deal with these enemies. How does voice of judgment, voice of cynicism, voice of fear limit you in your life? कैसे रोकता है, कैसे नुकसान करता है? Somebody?
Can I?
Yeah, please.
So,
And
sir,
then nearby.
so fear stops me many times. Where sometimes I am like I just stop myself from speaking. So I miss many opportunities, and so.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Nearby. And then Darshan.
Due to these problems, you never understand the other side of the story. You always believe that your story is the right, your opinion is the correct. You never try to understand others' opinion. Due to that, you can not progress, and when working in a teamwork, that could be a huge problem.
Brilliant, Nearby. You are intelligent. Yeah? Thank you. Extraordinary. Yeah,
So
Darshan.
they stop the progress and development. Like they won't allow us to go further. They're stuck in a boundary.
Yeah. Very good. So, voice of judgment does not allow us to listen to new idea, new data. Voice of cynicism doesn't allow us to connect with other human beings. And voice of fear doesn't allow us to try out new perspectives, new ways of doing things. It gets us stuck into the old ways of doing things. Right? So now, since we have less time, I'm going to jump directly into it. And I'm inviting you to create three friends, okay, who will help you deal with these three enemies. So you cannot deal with these enemies alone. You have to create some friends, okay. So पहला enemy कौन सा था?
Voice of judgment.
Voice of judgment. Yeah, उसका क्या है? That means we are saying, oh, I know everything. I know this person is like this only. Oh, this topic is like this only. This subject is like this only. ये job ऐसा ही रहेगा, business ऐसा ही रहेगा, economy ऐसा ही रहेगा. So we have our opinion and judgment, right? So what is the way to go beyond that opinion and judgment? First friend you have to create. That friend name is curiosity. Curiosity. Curiosity को गुजराती में क्या बोलोगे?
उत्सुकता, जानने की उत्सुकता.
Okay.
Jignasa.
Jignasa, I think it's a better word, right? So curiosity. कि भी ठीक है, past में ऐसा हुआ था, okay, but let me see, actually, let me find out more details. Can I put my opinion aside and see what they're really saying? Right? मुझे लगता है ये difficult है, okay, can I just check it out? Instead of closing my mind, can I just check it out? So without curiosity, you cannot have open mind. And if you don't have an open mind, you can never become a leader. Right? Most of the so-called leaders are not leaders. They are managers or bosses, or they are in some position. Leadership begins when you can have an open mind. And open mind का मतलब है you're willing to question what is there in your mind. If you are stuck No, मेरे दिमाग में जो है वही सही है, right? Then you are stuck. Then there is no open mind. Open mind का मतलब क्या है? First point is you are willing to question what is there in your mind. Second is open mind means you can have two or more contradictory idea at the same time. You are open for two or more contradictory ideas at the same time. ये भी सही हो सकता है, ये भी हो सकता है, ये भी सही हो सकता है, ये भी हो सही हो सकता है. Maybe let me explore. Instead of getting into no, ऐसा ही है. This is the only way. Okay, so curiosity. So your first friend is curiosity. How many can see that whichever area of your life you are interested, whether it's relationships or studies or career, jobs, custom business, if you develop some curiosity, it will help you. How many of you can see that? Hello. So this is why we need videos to be on, because otherwise I don't know what you're saying, thinking. I can't get your world. Okay, so first friend is curiosity, right? Janam, you get that? Great, thank you very much. Okay, now the second friend. So first let's look at what is the second enemy. What was the second enemy?
Voice of cynical.
Cynicism. Yeah, voice of cynicism. Cynicism means nothing is going to change. They are going to be like this only, right? What cynicism does is it stops us from opening our heart. It stops us from connecting with people. It keeps us away from people, right? Makes us superficial. We don't really want to connect deeply. So your friend, the new friend you can create here is called compassion. Not sympathy, compassion. Compassion means, oh, let me see from their eyes. From my eyes, this is black, but they are saying red. Let me see from their eyes. Let me go into their world. So if you look at your husband or wife or parents or brothers or your colleagues, they're saying something different. They have different opinion. Okay, let me go and see from their eyes. Let me ask them to explain what they're saying. Right? And that's compassion. It's not sympathy, but it is about getting out of your head and actually being willing to see from their eyes. Okay, so that's compassion.
The compassion and empathy is the same thing.
Yeah, compassion, when you have compassion, that is the source of empathy. So you can say they're similar. Yeah? So actually this way of listening is called empathic listening. So compassion gives you empathy, or compassion gives you empathic listening. Okay, and the last but most important, right? So what was the third enemy?
Voice of fear.
Yeah, voice of fear. Now this one is easy. Okay, so somebody tell me, what is the friend which can help you deal with this enemy?
Confidence.
No, confidence is dangerous. Okay,
Taking risks.
right.
Curiosity and open mind.
Curiosity we already covered, right? That's fine. So now,
Courage.
Yes, Mayur, you scored 2 points today, right? Both the question. So your third friend is courage. Courage to be open to consider new ways of doing things. Right? That's what we call as open will. You're willing to try out new ways. Right? So curiosity gives you open mind, compassion gives you open heart, and courage gives you open will. You're willing, you're open for new ways of looking at things, new ways of doing things, trying out something, experimenting. Because if you cannot experiment, you cannot create. Okay, great. So let's pause here and see what questions you have. And Deepak or Sapna, if you are here, let me know when I'm supposed to wrap up. I would like to make sure I honor your time frame. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, great. So let's pause here and either share what you're getting, क्या सीख रहे हो, क्या फायदा हो रहा है इसमें से, right? If you're getting something here, or if you have any question, go for
I
it.
have a question.
Yeah, Jinam.
Just like a hypothetical question, like in my mind there is preconceived notion or judgment.
Real question पूछो ना.
Sorry?
Hypothetical मत पूछो. Real
Ah,
question, real life, real people.
Yeah, it's real.
Yeah,
So
we have enough real problems. We don't need hypothetical problems. Yeah.
yeah, in my mind I have a data or a judgment, whatever you say, that if I am nearby some lion or I see some lion, then I mean it's
Don't worry.
confirmed that my life is in danger.
Forget the lion here. There are many lions in our life every day we are dealing with.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. So
tell me real stuff. Then I can coach you give you some real advice. Otherwise, it's useless. Okay.
Okay, I'm not able to right now think of something, but yeah, it's similar to this line that if I know that this is harmful, then I don't need to change my opinion or something like that, because I need to act accordingly, whatever
Yes.
the.
What is harm? Yeah, sure. So if you give me one example, then I can say something about it. Hypothetical questions are very dangerous to deal with. Okay.
Okay.
I don't like to do that. Take me real question. Okay. So while Jinam is thinking, somebody else.
Sir.
Yes.
Just one question.
We can,
Sometimes we are short of time, and being a listener, the speaker keeps on saying things for a long time. So in that particular case, at the back of our mind, these things comes up that okay, he's talking about the same thing again and again and again, and it is taking my time. So how to be, I mean, how to actually be more diplomatic in this kind of situation, or to extract more benefits in this kind of situation without spending much time, as well as allowing other to communicate his thoughts in articulate way.
Okay. So see, the first point is, what is the quality of our relationship, right? And do we have respect for them? If we have respect for them, right, and they know that we have respect for them, then you can say, listen, what you're saying, it looks like it's very important for you, and I would like to listen to you. Right now, I am short of time. Can we schedule another time where I can actually listen and get what you're saying fully? You hear me, Nikhil?
Got it, sir. Got it.
Yeah, let's not pretend that we are listening.
I have thought of a real life example. Can I share?
Yeah, Jinam.
Yeah, so it's not for me, like, but for some girl, if she is going into some.
Okay, that's not real life. Real life is your life, yeah.
Okay, I mean my life. I'm going into some street which is not much people, and it's night time, and I see 2 or 3 some thief or tapori kind of people. Then I should be afraid
Jinam,
about they would lock me out or something. That's my data, and I have to act accordingly.
You can. That is not stopping you in life much. Okay. Our real problems happen when our communication with our family members, with our friends, with our colleagues, with our customers, with our bosses, when that is not effective, the real problems happen, right? Let's deal with the everyday challenge, okay? Because the real problem is happening every day here. Like after this meeting, if you are in a house, you're going to spend some time with your family members. And you're not going to listen to them, they're not going to listen to you. You have downloading about them, they have downloading about you. That is the reality, right? You look young. So Jinam, are you studying or working?
No, sir, I'm working.
You're working, right? So you go to office, right?
Yeah.
You have a boss?
Yeah.
And some colleagues?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not listening to you.
Right, now I know.
Yeah, because they're downloading, and you're not listening to them because you are downloading. How can you be effective in that communication? Is when you can suspend your opinion about them and do a conscious effort to listen. Okay, what are they really saying? I don't like them. Okay, but pause that. Can I actually listen to him or her, right? And your boss, when you say, oh my God, he's crazy. Okay, that's an opinion, but can you put that aside and actually listen and see what they're really saying?
Right.
That's our real life here.
Right.
Okay. Good.
Yes,
Are you married?
Yes, sir.
You know, you never listen. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Jinam. And thanks for allowing me to have some straight conversation with you. Thank you. Okay.
Can I have my question?
Yes, please.
So, sir,
who's that? I can't see. Oh, yeah.
Asha
Asha.
is.
Yeah, Asha.
So can we say that having hope that things will change will help in blocking or removing the voice of cynicism? Can help hope can be a friend of the voice of cynicism?
Okay. I think you asked a brilliant question. So hope, where is hope? Is it in your head or is it in life?
In life.
No, hope is in your head. Right? Hopelessness is also in your head. Both hope and hopelessness, both are in your head. You get that? So both are taking you away from reality. What is, where is reality? Reality is when you can get out of your head, right? So when you're in the hope or when you're hopeless, that you're getting in your head. But when you come out, you actually deal with real stuff. Listen. Because right, you need hope because you're still dealing with downloading, and in your downloading things are negative. So you need hope. Right? But when you actually start listening to what's there, then they start dealing with reality. You don't need hope.
Yes.
Right? You don't need hope because hope and hopelessness both are in your head. Nothing to do with real life. Real life is there's data, there are people. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Great. Thank you very much. And so those of you who would like to know more about what we do, maybe you can connect with me on Facebook or LinkedIn, and we can share with you a little bit more about what we do. And also we'll share our blog page. And we have a YouTube channel called Leadership from the Emerging Future. And on the blog, you can search for Management Innovations. And if you can connect with us on Facebook or LinkedIn, we can then send you, preferably Facebook, we will send you more information about the work that we do. And you can also send your questions and things like that, right? Thank you very much. Really appreciate you taking time out and being here with us today. And Sapna, AMA, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir,
Over to
conducting such a nice program at AMS online platform. And thank you all participants for joining this program.